Omar here with Kyle Higgins. Kyle, how's it going?
Fantastic. Even better now.
Even better because I'm here?
Exactly.
This guy's awesome. So you just came off Power Rangers, right? And you're back at DC. What are you working on these days?
Well, I finished Power Rangers last year. I just did a 5-issue miniseries at Marvel for the Winter Soldier. I'm editing a new book at Image called Self-Made from Matt Groom and Eduardo Ferragato. Okay. And then I have some other stuff in the works that's not announced yet that I can't talk about.
Okay. And what is that book at Image about?
Well, Self-Made is about the relationship between a non-player character in basically like a futuristic type of video game, the relationship between her and her creator as the non-player character accidentally gains sentience and could be the next step in artificial intelligence. So this relationship between creator and creation as they basically seek out some form of God ends up spanning different dimensions and realms of reality. Like, it's a really cool sci-fi world and take.
Okay. So how did this all begin for you? How did you know you wanted to become a comic book writer? Or did it just come like one day you were just hanging out with the right person? Or?
No, I never wanted to do this. I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to like draw comics for maybe a year. I really kind of dabbled in it, but and I always drew growing up, and I loved reading comics, but I never wanted to write. I never thought I could write. I never thought I knew enough about the world to really have a perspective on anything. But I did, looking back, always write without realizing it so that I would have material to make little movies from. So I've been directing since I was 7 years old, right? So when I finally went to film school, I decided I wanted to do something that was in the realm of the type of movies that inspired me to get into this stuff in the first place, which is like Richard Donner's Superman, Tim Burton's Batman. And I just figured, you know what? I'm going to take a shot here, and I'm going to try to do something big and bold. And if I may never get the chance to do a superhero movie professionally, right? And this was Batman Begins had come out, but The Dark Knight hadn't come out yet, right? So this is before Iron Man, before the Marvel boom, all of it. There were fan films online like Batman Dead End and from Sandy Calora and Grayson, yeah, stuff like that. So I looked at that and I was like, well, they're getting these massive numbers, like views and downloads, but they can't really do anything with this because they don't have the rights to these characters. So I decided I'd build out my own world and kind of my own, IP, for lack of a better term, and do my own film. And so that became The League. And then Joe Quesada saw it, and so I started pitching to Marvel because I was like, well, I might as well, it's an open invitation. And then this gentleman, Mr. Dan DiDio, gave me, he's running away. Not running, but he didn't hear me. Gave me this opportunity, and then I started doing stuff at DC, and they gave me books for the New 52, like Nightwing and Deathstroke, and then it's just kind of took on a life of its own. Man, that is awesome. And then what led you to Power Rangers? Were you a fan of the show growing up, and then boom was like, hey, we're starting a new line, we kind of want to do what IDW did with Ninja Turtles and Transformers? No, I mean, I was a fan when I was a kid. I didn't look at what IDW did, no. Honestly, the reason I went after Power Rangers was because I knew Boom's take on it would be cool. Not even their take, but they would support it and promote it, and they got how cool it could be. And so when those first images that Goni Montes drew that became the covers for issue 0 were released, I was like, that's it. That's exactly what this book is. It's a stylish, updated, kind of hip superhero series. And I just felt like all of these kind of big superhero storytelling muscles that I've developed for years at Marvel and DC, I could put them to use on a brand that's never really had anything like this before. And so that's really where it stemmed from. Well, it worked because, like I said, I didn't grow up with the show, and I love the comic book. Oh, thank you. And a lot of people do, because those year 1 and year 2 hardcovers are completely sold out. Yeah, I've heard that, yeah. And I'm sure you get asked at shows, when are we going to get reprints? And you're like, I don't know. That won't happen. Really? I would be really surprised. Broke a lot of hearts. I just don't see them reprinting Volume 1. I mean, maybe. The thing is that those books are so expensive to print. And look, I don't want to speak for Boom, because the second I say this, maybe they'll announce that they're reprinting it. But I haven't asked anybody, but I feel like those books are so expensive to print. And I just know how that kind of model works. You would have to have such demand to justify like the massive upfront print costs. And I just don't know if that level of demand is there. I mean, like, they're going for a ton of money on eBay.
I know you check eBay and see how much those go for, especially when people bring them here.
People bring them here.
And get it you to sign it to eBay.
People tweet at me about it all the time. Like, when is Volume 1 going to be reprinted? And I feel like if it hasn't been reprinted already, I don't know that it will. I don't know. But like I said, I don't have any inside information. My gut says it won't happen.
Okay. Well, it may be a chance. So you said directing. Have you done anything lately with that?
Well, I directed the huge Shattered Grid film with Jason David Frank last year.
Oh, you did that. That's awesome.
Yes. And then I had this big film called The Shadow Hours come out. That's a big proof of concept for a feature that I also wrote. And then there's something else that was supposed to be announced by now, but it got delayed, the announcement. But again, I can't talk about it yet. So,
would you ever go back to doing Power Rangers again?
Yeah, I mean, it'd have to be the right situation. But I kind of feel like I'm a big believer in, like, go out on a high note, you know, and leave them wanting more. And I kind of feel like after Shattered Grid, it was like, you know what, this is a good time for me to wind down and hand the baton over to whoever's coming next. And, you know, Marguerite Bennett has done a great job. And one of my best friends, Ryan Parrott, is now going to basically run both books, Go-Go and Mighty Morphin. And I love Ryan to death. He's an amazing writer. And Daniele, my Shattered Grid artist, is drawing it all. So I feel like it's all in really good hands. And Daphne Plevin is the unsung hero of that whole world and that whole machine and keeping the trains running on time, but also great with creative notes. Like, they don't need me.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, man.
My pleasure.